Hello there, welcome to today's Quilter. Great to have your company. I think you're going to get a lot of inspiration from this show, actually. Very, very exciting indeed. It might be a new hobby. It might be something you've dallied with before or something you've seen friends and family do. It's going to be a great, great show. With me is Jen, who's the editor of today's Quilter magazine, which we've been having a good flick through. And it would be a good starting point, wouldn't it, Jen?
Yes, definitely.
If you've never, ever started before with fabric, crafting in any way, lots of hints, lots of tips, and you don't need to be a very experienced sewer or crafter to actually introduce yourself.
Not at all, not at all. You can, if you're even interested in fabric and sewing, you can get started with this.
And the great thing is, the kit that we're going to show you in this half an hour includes the latest edition of today's Quilter magazine, which is great. Now, we're not going straight to a quilt project, are we?
Oh.
Because, well, actually, you know, we're going to move on to that. That's step 2, isn't it? But that's maybe too much for today's show.
Yes.
So we're going to start with something that very, very stylish.
I'm really excited about this.
But actually something that everyone can do within a relatively shorter space of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So no major, huge experience or skill required.
No, not at all.
We can all do this. And I've never done anything like this myself, Jen, so we'll have a look and see what's in the pack.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about how we get from all of this to this beautiful bag. In fact, 2 bags, isn't it?
2 bags, yes.
So we'll have a look at the kit that we've got here. Now, everything you need, Jen, is here. We've got what's called the charm pack, which we'll explain in just a moment. We've got the fabric itself to make the lining, which is a very high quality Tilda fabric, isn't it?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful to sew with. Lovely to use, yeah.
And a very, very high quality as well. You get the thread, and most importantly, I think for me, the step-by-step instructions on how to put this together. Should we get started then? Because this looks really, really exciting.
Great.
Let's start with the charm pack. Now, to me, as the layman, it's squares of fabric.
Okay.
Tell me more.
It is squares of fabric. It is 42 squares of fabric, each one 5 inches square. And throughout what you'll find is that we have lots of different, we have colours, we have patterns, we have designs, all different scales, but they're all chosen to coordinate.
Okay, right, so I can see on the finished bag, we have got some squares set out beautifully. Do I need to set them out exactly as this is, the finished sort of pattern?
You can do, or you can go completely freestyle and you can arrange them any way you like.
Okay, but they all coordinate. So for boys who have no eye for coordination whatsoever, this is a perfect project for me.
It is, yes.
Okay, let's get started then.
Okie dokie. So what we're going to do is we're going to set out our first row of squares. And to start with, we're going to take our first 2, right sides together, lay them together on top of each other, exactly like this. And then we're simply going to sew a 1/4 inch seam down one side.
Okay, 1/4 inch seam, explain.
Okay, it's 1/4 inch. So you're going to use your ruler and you're either going to mark a 1/4 inch from that edge, or on your sewing machine, there'll often be a 1/4 inch mark there as well. So you can use that as a guide. So we're just going to sew a simple line of stitching up there. And what we're going to end up with
is the 2 together.
Is the 2 together.
So is that the general rule when you're sewing 2 pieces with a seam? Always right sides together, do the sewing, and then...
Yes,
I
exactly.
See, we've learnt something already.
So if you look on the back, you will see exactly what was going on there. There are our 1/4 inch seams, pressed apart, and ta-da, done.
Okay, so that's 2, but obviously we need a row of 3, so we need to repeat that again with a 3rd.
We do. So we're going to take our 3rd piece of fabric, again, right sides together. Sew our 1/4 inch seam up the side, and when we open that out, we'll end up with 1 completed row.
Okay, so that's 1 row, and obviously you can see the larger of the 2 bags, and we're actually able to make 2 out of the kit in today's show, which is really, really exciting, which just adds even more value.
It does.
So if we do 3 rows by 4, we'll end up with 1 side of the bag. That seems so quick and so easy. And we've explained it very, very quickly. Obviously, you've got the sewing and everything else to do here as well. But actually, 1, very easy method, and 2, not major skill required either.
No, I've shown you everything you need to know for the patchwork right at the beginning, because to attach each of your rows together, you're going to use your same, right sides together, sew your 1/4 inch seam, open out again, and you have your sides.
This is brilliant, isn't it? And it's so simple.
Yeah.
So things are getting very, very exciting. We've got a lot of our key elements together. we are getting to the exciting part of this. If you're inspired by what you've seen so far and want to get involved as well, it's very, very simple. In the pack for $29.99 is everything you need. So you have got all of the fabric, you've got that charm pack that we saw earlier to make the sides of the bag, we've got the interfacing, we've got the thread, and of course the all-important step-by-step instructions. And to get yours, all you need to do is give us a call, that number at the bottom of the screen. Now there are two ways of ordering this actually. You can order this as the kit at $29.99. We also have fantastic pinking shears here as well. Now pinking shears are important, Jen, because you use them in lots of fabric craft.
They're a great bit of basic kit, yes.
And these are brilliant quality.
They are.
At $14.99, which is an exceptional price tag.
Yeah.
But if you order the kit and the pinking shears together right now, just £39.99, which I know.
That's
I know.
amazing.
And remember, the end product is two fantastic bags that we have made, which is great. So, it's time. It's time. Let's put everything together.
Right, we're going to start building a bit of a sandwich now.
Okay.
So we're going to take that interfacing, again, that magic interfacing. We'll cut out our side piece of interfacing. We're going to take the first side of our fabric and lay that face up on top of a piece of interfacing. Going to take our second piece.
Okay, so we're doing everything inside out again, aren't we, almost, because we're sewing it together. So right sides together?
You guessed it.
Okay,
yep,
great,
that's it. Right sides together. And then our second piece of interfacing just sits on top. So that's just interfacing, side, side, interfacing. Then we're going to just sew all the way around, 3 sides, clip our corners, and then we're ready for the next stage.
So we got our side then, which all looks fairly straightforward.
Yes.
And obviously then we need to create that again, one for one side and one for the other. See, this boy catches on quick.
Getting it.
And now we need to make the lining for the bag.
Yes.
And for this, we need the larger piece of fabric, which is all within the kit as well. And I'll give you the details for that in just a second. So I can see we've done the trick here of right sides together.
We have, you are learning. Right sides together, exactly on top of each other with the sides lined up. And then all we're going to do for this stage is we're going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam.
Okay.
All the way around, long side, short side, long side. But, and this will be in the instructions, we're going to leave a gap at the bottom and we'll be using that later on. So 2 facing L's like this, and then I'm just going to clip these corners.
Okay,
And we're done.
that will give us our lining.
That's it, that's done. Yeah.
Again, another nice easy stage.
Yeah.
So we have our lining.
Yes.
We've done our L's and left our gap in the lining, and we've put that to one side. We're coming back to that in a moment. Now we're making something crucial to a bag, which of course is the handles.
That's it.
Now with this, we're using not just the fabric alone, because actually I'm feeling the finished product and it feels quite sturdy here.
Yes.
So how are we achieving that?
We're doing that with interfacing, a very clever little sewing trick.
Okay, what's interfacing?
Interfacing is a very fine, translucent layer of very strong fabric that will allow us to add strength and rigidity and sturdiness to our cotton.
So this is how they do it in clothing then, to give that form and that shape for clothing?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Right, what do we need to do?
So what we're going to do first is we'll cut out our pieces following the instructions. Then we're going to take one of our handles, lengthways fold it in half, and then just do a very simple finger press along here.
So exactly down the middle.
Exactly down the middle.
Okay.
Open it out again. We've got our centre mark. Then we're going to take our piece of interfacing, pop it on top.
Oh, and you can see through it, so you know exactly where you are in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Top tip there, that's good. You are learning.
Oh.
Then we're just going to fold these sides in, and we're just going to use the edge of the interfacing as a guide. So fold that nice and snug over the edges, and then fold it again, using our previous fold as a guide in half.
So you've got double the strength here, in essence, and that's what's giving that the rigidity.
Yeah, you've got 4 layers of fabric and interfacing.
And I can see on the finished product here that what we're actually doing there is just sewing the 2 sides of that together, not 1/4 inch this time.
Nope, just a little bit less, just up to the edge, whatever you feel comfortable with, down both sides.
And we need that ×2, and that's the handles done.
Done.
And of course, with the magic of television, here is one that we made earlier. So we have our two sides and we have the lining together right now. And of course, what every good bag needs is a pair of handles. So let's deal with that first.
Indeed. So we're going to pin our handles on flush with the top of the bag, like so. And a second handle on the other side. And
they must be in the same place on both sides, I've been told, otherwise it's going to be a strange experience.
It's going to be a bit wonky. So they're going to be pinned on there, upside down. Bear with me. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our lining, which is...
Now this is where you need to start keeping your eye on the ball, actually, because everything's inside out, the wrong way round, and it all seems like a little bit wrong, but a little bit like putting your pillow into the pillowcase, we are now putting the whole of this inside to the lining, which is inside out. So let's do.
So let's go for that then. So sometimes it's easier if you want to just fold the outside in half, and then I'm just going to pop it inside this lining.
And it's a lot easier than it looks, by the way, and of course, full instructions are with it, which is great. So step by step, this will tell you everything you need to know along the way, and it is very, very simple. And I can see now where we've left the gap in the other end. Part of the reason for that is making sure this goes in nice and flat for our finished bag.
Exactly. So we've got our outside, inside our inside.
Yes.
Like so.
Okay.
And we're just going to make sure then that our handles are still pointing down the way and that the outside and the inside lining is all
so everything's
flush.
Level.
Yes, so you're just going to pin it together, and then we're going to sew around the seam.
Okay, now you emphasised around there because what a lot of people would do at first glance is just go, I'll sew all of that together.
Exactly, and it wouldn't be the first time someone's done it, and
that leaves you with a bag you can never get inside.
It's beautiful but useless. So once we've done that, then we go back to that gap that we left earlier, as you're saying, and that's when the magic really starts to happen. So what we're going to start doing is pulling the outside through that gap.
And we pull that all the way out and all the way through. And we fast forward to, et voila, the finished bag. Obviously, we have our little bit of a gap at the bottom, which the instructions will tell you how to deal with.
Hand stitching.
And that's it.
You're done.
Our finished bag. And it really was, you know, obviously we've sped up some of the processes there, but essentially that was one, very simple, and two, fairly quick. And three, I didn't really need huge amounts of sewing skills either.
No, not if you can sew in a straight line, you can make this bag. And what you'll find as well is from the beginning of making the bag to finishing it, you'll have built up so much confidence and skill, and you'll be going faster and really enjoying it.
It all seems really, really simple, doesn't it? And great and inspirational. And remember, of course, you'll also receive with your kit the latest edition of today's Quilter magazine, of which Jen is the editor as well. So let me show you everything that's in this kit then for $29.99. I think this is really great. So we've got our charm pack to make up all of the panels of the outside of the bags. And remember, you can make two bags with this kit for $29.99. The interfacing you need is there as well for the handle and the inside. The larger fabric for the lining, the thread is included, full step-by-step instructions, plus the latest edition of today's Quilter magazine. All of that in a package for $29.99. The pinking shears you can add individually to your order, or you can order them separately for $14.99. But we are actually doing an amazing bundle right now where if you buy the kit and the pinking shears, which you'll need for all kinds of fabric crafting, order the two together, and that's just $39.99. I think I know which way I'd go.
Yeah, I think the bundle is a must-have.
It's really fantastic. And I hope we've inspired you. And this is just the beginning. Remember, creating the two bags in this kit for $29.99, that's just the beginning. And it will inspire many, many ideas, I'm sure, Jen.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining us as well. I hope you found some inspiration. Do give us a call and look out, because we'll be back sometime again soon.